You know that feeling when you start something new, that rush of excitement? You can't wait to begin. You tell yourself, this time will be different. This time you'll finish. But then a week passes, the excitement fades, the work gets hard, and suddenly you're back where you started. Another unfinished dream, another promise broken to yourself. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You've just been chasing the wrong thing. I want to tell you about a young watchmaker named Samuel. His story changed the way I think about finishing what I start. Maybe it'll change yours too. Samuel owned a small watch repair shop. His father had left it to him. It was filled with tiny tools, old clocks, and the soft ticking sounds that filled every corner. Samuel was good at his work, really good. He understood how watches worked, how every little piece fit together perfectly. But Samuel was bored. He didn't want to fix broken watches. He didn't want to change batteries or clean dusty old timepieces for elderly customers who paid so little. That felt like small work, unimportant work. Samuel dreamed bigger. He wanted to create something amazing, something nobody had ever seen before. His notebook was full of incredible clock designs, clocks with moving stars, clocks with tiny dancers, clocks that would make him famous. Whenever a new idea hit him, Samuel would work like crazy. For days, he'd barely sleep. He'd sketch and build and tinker, riding that wave of pure excitement. But then he'd hit a problem. Something wouldn't work. A piece wouldn't fit. And just like that, the excitement would die. He'd get frustrated. He'd set the project aside. And he'd wait for the next exciting idea to come along. Meanwhile, his shop was dying. Customers stopped coming. Dust covered the counters. Bills piled up. The shop was quieter than it had ever been. Even the clocks seemed to tick slower. One cold morning, an old man walked into the shop. He carried something wrapped in cloth. He unwrapped it carefully and placed it on Samuel's counter. It was a beautiful pocket watch, silver and gold, carved with tiny flowers. "My grandfather made this," the old man said. His voice was soft, sad. "It stopped working 40 years ago. I've taken it to every watchmaker in 3 cities. They all said the same thing. It's too broken, too complicated, too old." The old man looked at Samuel. "But they said your father was the best. They said maybe his son learned his secrets. I'll pay you whatever you need. Just please make it tick again." Samuel felt that familiar spark. This wasn't boring work. This was a challenge. This was impossible. This was his chance to prove he was special. "I'll fix it," Samuel said. For the first 3 days, Samuel was on fire. He took the watch apart piece by piece. It was thrilling. Each tiny gear, each spring, each wheel. The watch was more complex than anything he'd ever seen. He felt like an explorer discovering a hidden world. But then the real work started. The watch had over 200 small pieces: gears, springs, screws, wheels, pins, each one smaller than a grain of rice. To find the problem, he had to clean every single piece, look at every single piece, check every single piece. It was slow, it was boring, it was the most tiring thing he'd ever done. After a week, Samuel's excitement was completely gone. He'd sit at his workbench, staring at hundreds of tiny parts spread across the table. His mind would wander. He'd think about his own designs, the exciting projects waiting in his notebook. "This feels like a waste," he thought. "I could be creating something new, something brilliant." 2 weeks in, Samuel had enough. One afternoon, tired and angry, he accidentally swept a tray of screws onto the floor. They scattered everywhere. He got down on his hands and knees, picking them up one by one, and something inside him broke. "I'm going to quit," he decided. "Tomorrow I'll tell the old man it can't be fixed." That night, Samuel couldn't sleep. He decided to clean out his father's old desk, maybe sell it, maybe close the shop for good. As he emptied the drawers, he found something hidden in the back, a small leather journal. His father's handwriting filled the pages. Samuel opened it, not sure what he'd find. He expected stories of greatness, tales of genius, secrets of the craft. But that's not what he found. Instead, the pages were simple, honest, almost boring. Monday, fixed Mrs. Chen's watch. Took 5 hours. The spring was rusted. Patient work. Thursday, a young girl brought her father's watch. Can't afford to pay. Fixed it anyway. Her smile was enough. Saturday, worked all day on the church clock. Still doesn't run right. I'm tired. My hands hurt. Tomorrow I'll try again. Page after page, it was the same. Simple records of simple work. Days when his father was tired. Days when he failed. Days when the work was hard and unglamorous and slow. At the end of the journal, his father had written something longer. A man who only works when he feels inspired will start many things and finish nothing. A clock doesn't tick because it feels like it. It ticks because that's what it was built to do. 1 second, then another, then another. That's the only way. We must be the same. We don't wait to feel good. We show up. We work. And maybe, if we're lucky, we start to feel good because of the work. Samuel read those words 3 times. His father wasn't great because he was talented. He was great because he showed up every day, even boring days, even hard days, even days when he didn't want to. The next morning, Samuel walked into his shop different. He didn't wait for excitement. He made a simple rule: 2 hours every morning on the watch, no matter what. Even if he was bored, even if he was frustrated, just show up and work. The first few days were the hardest. His mind kept telling him to stop, to do something more interesting. One morning, he spent the entire 2 hours cleaning one single gear, just one. It felt pointless. The old Samuel would have quit, would have thrown something. But the new Samuel just put his tools down when the time was up. "I'll try again tomorrow," he said out loud to the empty shop. Slowly, something changed. He stopped thinking about feeling excited. He just worked. And in the working, he found something different. Not excitement, something quieter, something deeper. Pride, real pride. Not in a brilliant idea, but in doing difficult work well. He started seeing beauty in the small things, how perfectly 2 gears meshed, how a clean spring caught the light. He wasn't just fixing a watch anymore. He was learning what his father knew, that good work is its own reward. After 3 weeks, he found the problem. One tiny tooth on one tiny wheel was chipped, so small he'd missed it 20 times, so small that only someone with patience would ever find it. He fixed it with steady hands. Then, piece by piece, he put the watch back together. When he wound it for the first time, his heart pounded. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, soft as a whisper, it started. Tick, tick, tick. The sound was beautiful. When the old man returned, Samuel just pointed to the counter where the watch lay ticking steadily. The old man picked it up. He held it close to his ear. His eyes filled with tears. "My grandfather gave this to my father on his deathbed," the old man whispered. "My father gave it to me the same way. I thought I'd never hear it again. You haven't just fixed a watch. You've given me back my family." In that moment, Samuel understood. The work was never about him. It was about service, about keeping promises, about doing something that mattered to someone else, about showing up even when showing up was hard. So what's the lesson? It's simple, really. Motivation is like a match. It lights up bright and hot, but it burns out fast. Discipline is different. Discipline is like the sun. It rises every single day, whether you feel like it or not. You need the match to start the fire, but you need the sun to sustain life. One moment of motivation can't carry you through months of hard work. Only discipline can do that. Second, fall in love with the boring parts. The real growth doesn't happen in the exciting moments. It happens in the quiet, slow, ordinary hours when nobody's watching. That's where you build character. That's where you become someone who finishes things. And finally, just show up, especially on the days you don't want to. Those are the days that matter most. Don't think about the whole mountain. Just take the next step. Clean one part, write one sentence, make one call. That's how great things get built, not by lightning strikes of inspiration, but by the quiet, steady, unstoppable power of showing up, one day after another after another. If this story helped you see things differently, do me a favor, hit that like button. Share this with someone who's stuck, someone who keeps starting but never finishing. And don't forget to subscribe. Turn on notifications because I've got more stories like this one. Stories that will change how you think about success, discipline, and becoming the person you want to be. See you in the next one.